now the robots are let out of their cage, because when we're seeing the automatization, they're all housed in because the robot that we have, they have a fixed path that are programmed, and the robot follows the path. Doesn't matter who's in their way. But for the humanoids, they're walking around. They're freely following. So they don't have a cage. So there's something different here.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Gold Casting podcast. Today, me and Fabian are going to talk about a very interesting future, both as for die casters making components, but also for our total environment. We're talking about humanoids, humanoid robots. And first, a little bit of disclaimer. We have not been drinking Swedish vodka or some strange mushrooms. So we actually base this on what we have found on the internet and also from various projects we're working on. So the more we learn, the more wider we see the horizon. And now we want to share it with you. So here we go, humanoid episode. Welcome.
Absolutely. And I think because when we're talking about technology, a lot of things are based on software around us. And for the humanoids, it's actually a hardware product that is there. And it's a hardware product that is highly interesting for the foundry industry, because the foundry industry is super common to find armies of robots. They're doing various tasks precisely 24/7 and take up all the repetitive work from workers that they can focus on getting the best quality output. So running in the foundries and you don't find an orange army, you don't have that.
Yeah. But now with humanoids, you said it so beautifully before we started the recording, Fabian. What was the quote?
The quote is that now the robots are let out of their cage, because when we're seeing the automatization, they're all housed in because the robot that we have, they have a fixed path that are programmed, and the robot follows the path. Doesn't matter who's in their way. But for the humanoids, they're walking around. They're freely following. So they don't have a cage. So there's something different here.
And the reason why this is so interesting, when you're letting the robot out of the cage, I mean, a normal industrial robot is bolted to the ground. And then you say, why are they looking like human beings, those robots? The answer is simple, because they are supposed to be functional in our environment, with stairs, thresholds, different surfaces to walk on, grass, concrete, whatever you have. So this is why they actually look like they look. But firstly, the market of humanoids, we think it's going to explode. We think this is the big thing that will consume a lot of die castings for sure. And the reason why is that if you look at it, they need a skeleton. They need pretty much the same skeleton pieces that you find in yourself. So it's quite easy. It should be stiff, thin-walled. Battery capacity is a problem, so they should be lightweight. You have some places where you have some heat conductivity issues that you can solve with die casting as well. So it's a big market, and people are actually talking about millions of copies of these machines, because it's still a machine that needs to be produced. And in every one of them, you'll find between 20 and 50 die casted pieces. So it's a big market.
It's a massive market. Also, to add to that, when we're talking usually topics in the foundries, they go larger machines, gigacasting, megacasting, hypercasting. So you have an arms race in equipment. But for the humanoid robots, they're usually in our size range. So your 600, 800, 1400 ton machine is the perfect machine capacity for these applications. And it's finally an application that is non-automotive. You have global world buying these products, or will buy these products. And if you're the one saying, I will never buy a robot for my house, do you have a vacuum robot? Do you have an Alexa? Do you have a security system that is connected to the cloud? Do you have a cell phone? Welcome, you're doing basically the same thing already.
You're missing out one, the lawn cutting robot that we all have if you're living in a house.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded with it. So then you question yourself, okay, guys, you say that you're not been eating mushrooms. Why should this be a mass market? And the answer is AI and machine learning. Because here it goes. If you have a cleaning robot, the cleaning robot is taking care of your windows, for example. Your robot you have today is just taking care of your floors, right? But now you have a humanoid robot and you ask it to also take the dust off the shelves, and then the robot says, should I clean the windows, sir? It starts, and it happens that you have very dirty windows. So the robot notifies this, that in this corner is a little bit difficult. It learns with machine learning how to do it, and then it can upload it. So 99 other robots that are standing there doing cleaning in your nation, Sweden or Germany or Switzerland, learns instantly. Okay, all of you that has been managers, training personnel, right?
Yeah, you have different people learn in different ways. So you don't have that standard training regiment. You have different backgrounds. So you have to do that very individually. It takes up a lot of time. But when you want to scale, for example, for production facilities, so we have one robot bringing packages from A to B, and now it's working well. Now we need more. Bam, you buy 99 more robots, and now you have 100 robots that have the same skill set.
Yes, instantly. Or a couple of seconds, maybe.
Depending on your network speed, probably. But yeah. But it's a matter of a weekend, basically. You start the download process on Friday, and on Monday, they're configured. They know the layout, they know the people, they know what's going on, how to deliver things.
Yes. And then you say like, yeah, okay, but I don't believe in machine learning. But then take another example. You're a farmer, and all of a sudden there's a lot of plants that are not supposed to be on your field. You say, you go to your robot and you teach them, you throw a couple of plants on the ground and you say, take away, don't take away, don't take away. All right? So you kind of simulate and learn in a laboratory. The laboratory could be the yard. It could also be in the computer. And all of a sudden, he knows to take out these plants. He knows how the flower looks when it's fresh and when it's getting older. Different colors, different sunsets. Easy peasy.
And that's already running everywhere. For example, you've probably seen these captchas Google uses where you have a motorcycle, you have to click on the fields where the motorcycle is. You've been doing that for years to justify you're not a robot. But actually what you're doing, you've trained the AI for autonomous driving, because the AI knew, okay, I have some fields where there's definitely a motorcycle, and I have fields where there's definitely no motorcycle. And then you had to fill in, is there in between fields, is that motorcycle or is it something else? So you've been training AI data for years by securing your website, your downloads, whatnot.
Yes, we are already part of the game. So getting into it, okay, we're saying that robots will take over a lot of things, and then you ask yourself, what kind of things? So let's go through a list what people think that robots can do in near future. First of all, cleaning. Cleaning buildings, hallways, not only the floors, it also take care of stuff. It could, lose item in a basket, and there you go, every morning. And imagine a hospital, for example. If someone starts, not make that corner that clean, where do you think you find the bacteria? So probably a better quality of the cleaning as well.
Absolutely. And also when you think about your home applications, when you have that automatic vacuum going through the flat, the corners are always the problem. It tries to recognize where it's a bit dirty to go a second round, but one sock, one carpet in the way, and the thing is derailed, and you have to get it. How beautiful would it be? Cook a nice dinner yourself and then eat it with the family, and then say, robot, please clean the kitchen, take the dishes, and then you do the kitchen and we play a game or whatnot. It takes out all the busy work, the work that is more feel like a chore than the fun.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have, I think, a field where we will see robots is the third arm for you, the help. So imagine, for example, you have a car repair shop. In Sweden, everybody changes tires from summer tire to winter tire. And it's pretty messy for these firms because they work like 6-8 weeks, 24/7. Imagine you have this robot. He picks up the wheels. He holds it in the right position, for example. He could also have like a screwdriver instead of the index finger cleaning the threads before you actually put the wheel in place. And you have a human being then can serve 2 cars in the same time because there's no lifting. The lifting is done by the robot. The cleaning of the threads is done by the robot. So he's more controlling, see to it, okay, it's the right tires and the right car and blah, 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 blah.
How's the quality of the tire? Is there something going wrong? So you really take out the tedious work, give it to the robot. Same like with the automation. There's no need for a human to take the part from the mold into the trimming press. That's perfectly done by the robot. But when it comes then later to check the part, that's something where a human or maybe also an AI vision can help in that as well. But you're basically getting free time to do the things that you are way better at and you enjoy doing instead of running around doing tedious work.
Yeah. So the extra hand in mechanical workshops doing repetitively work like changing tires. I mean, why not? And the question is, I mean, if you look at the robot, it could have total different sensors like night vision, thermal scoping. It could have also a pressure sensor in an index finger and then checking the pressure of the tires directly, etc., etc. It's going to be fast because the usage of robots will increase profitability so much. It will be massive. I used to make a joke. I think it's more profitable having a humanoids than actually selling cocaine or drugs. That's what I think.
Yeah, that robot that works 24/7, doesn't ask for breaks, that just goes in for a battery charge, but then maybe you have a second one that can take over then, and you have like a shift system for them to give in the charging break with switchable batteries. Who knows how the system will be?
No, but there are a bunch of them.
Exactly. And even if it's so profitable, it's very easy to justify buying a second one.
Yes. I mean, take sustainability. All this handling of trash, basically. Sorting their trash, feeling what is electrical conductive or not, meaning a metal. You know, you can see the robots working day and night, you know. Who?
They made a whole movie out of it called WALL-E.
Yeah,
the one robot sorting trash for 1,000 years.
Yeah. So you have them in your household, you have them in sustainability work when it comes to trash, you probably have them in industry already, in like warehouses and pulling things, and car repair shops and all the places that have a decent level of repetition and recognizing things like plants, tires, trash, metal, you know. And again, if you can teach 100 robots in a couple of seconds about a new plant, a new soda can that should be in the recycling bin, etc., etc., it will move fast. So these are where we think they will be. But what are actually the pros of having a robot compared to a human being?
It's the human thing. So when you do you work for 8 hours. Maybe many start now to work 80%, so they're just working 6 hours per day or things like that. They complain, they chat during their coffee break. So humans are not the most efficient workers. They can do really great work, but especially the more tedious the job is, the more you slack off. And after a certain while, you also get burned out. For example, when you see something like quality checks and you have to look at 1,000 parts per day, after a certain time, everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Not for the robot.
So you never complain, you never need to negotiate. I mean, I got kids, you negotiate all the time about emptying the dishwasher. They never get bored, they never go on vacation. They don't mind working 8 to 11 in the evening, and the change over time between tasks is very quickly for a robot.
And your competitor cannot come in and say, hey, I offer your humanoid robot a job. That doesn't happen.
No, because you got hardworking. But what's hurting me a little bit is like, for many of these tasks, they're probably doing a better job than I'm doing. I think so.
I don't know if it's always the better job, but it's a way more consistent job.
Yeah, maybe both.
And depending on what you add to the robot, like you said, night vision, maybe there's an X-ray, a pressure testing. So it does the work way more efficient in their way. It's optimized for certain tasks, or even can change hands and therefore change tools to fit certain applications way better. And that is something where, when we see now with AI, that is something that is a threat to many entry-level white-collar jobs. Then we have the next round of these helpers around the facility that their job is now threatened.
Yeah. It's moving that direction. So we are praising the use of humanoid robots. We say, as a mid-conclusion here, they will be able to work in our environment. They can work with the stairs. They can do a lot of tedious things. I claim they can do things better than us human, and you, Fabian, claim that they will be more consistent. That's great. But the cons then, what is negative with them? Well, right now, price. They are too costly.
Yep. But when we're going back with everything that's electronic, think about a plasma TV 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When you saw something like that in someone's living room, you thought, oh, they are rich.
Yes.
Now, when you go to a supermarket, a 50-inch TV can be as cheap as an impulse buy.
Yeah. We got some potatoes, some milk, and some bread. And hey, by the way, we buy a new TV. It's the way it goes. And before revealing, I think we're going to talk in another episode about the makers of this. But if you look who's behind all this, you got Kawasaki, Mitsubishi, you have Elon Musk and Tesla, you got Alibaba, you got Xiaomi. I mean, that moved from cell phones to cars to now robots. I mean, it's merging together. And those players are not that small. I mean, this is not a Swedish innovation in the woods somewhere. So everybody's going this direction since years and years and years.
Absolutely. And then what we haven't mentioned in that list is all the small startups that have a certain idea, a specific approach to these technologies. And we don't know yet what comes out of that, because oftentimes in these niches, fantastic products comes out. What we've seen with all the software tools that we're using, the Facebooks, the Googles, they are thought, okay, that is something that we can do way better than the big giants. And they came up and ruled the market.
So the price is probably going down.
The price is going down fast. And then it becomes something like, is it worth buying? And then you also have the discussion when you something in between, like if it's cost, for example, like a small car or between a car and an e-bike from a pricing point of view, then it suddenly becomes something that you can see also in homes coming up very quickly, because it replaces the cleaning lady, it replaces someone that takes out the laundry for the dry cleaning and whatnot. And then you have something that you save by that. And as soon as it starts to get into a commodity product spectrum, the market is massive.
But also what you say right now, commodity market spectrum, yeah. But I also think that the building blocks will undergo the same development. I mean, if you look at the hip joint, you look at how to design a hand, the sensors and the gyroscopes, all these things, they are pretty much prototype pricing right now. Imagine when they had the first order of 1 million pieces. You will see a price drop also on the commodities that goes into robot. So prices will go down. Second criticism is that they are slow. I believe that. But who want to go fast before you're fully developed? Wait and see.
That's the same development process. The more you do these things, the more they sell, the better the electronics, the control systems get, the better the accuracy of all the joints is, the faster they go. And we've seen the first tendencies with that half marathon run in China for the robots. They already beat the fastest human by 7 minutes.
Was it Xiaomi or who was it?
Was Honor, the phone company.
That's so crazy. So this about being slow, you wait and see. The third criticism that you can find on internet or whatever is that the human hand is still more sensitive. Painting a Mona Lisa will still require a human hand. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. But how many things we do every day that really need that super coordination in our hand? Not much.
Also, adding that with a humanoid robot, you can buy time to paint more to get a second Mona Lisa out.
True.
And I think that's the biggest advantage, not what the robot can do and then it's a 1-to-1 comparison. It's more like what can you gain in free time and time you can allocate to things that are way more enjoyable than cleaning the gutters during autumn or what, I don't know. There are so many things we do, because we have to do them, but we're not enjoying them.
And then you have the power repetition, you know. I mean, if you take it again, you are taking out plants on the field for a farmer. You do it half good, so you take half the plant. But if you do it twice as many times, after a couple of weeks, you have exactly the same result. So what's the problem, actually?
And then on a sustainability point of view, you don't need to buy expensive and devastating fertilizers and pesticides and whatnot Now you have these robots picking out the right plants.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that I think if you look at the environment and sustainability, I think humanoids is a great thing in many aspects. I mean, sorting trash or using less pesticides or whatever you need to do. Optimization as well, you know, seeing exactly which plant needs what water and so forth. So we're not super concerned about the negative stuff around the robots either. We think it will sort out, basically, because the money is there, the margin is there, the push, the players are in place. Where's the problem, basically? Well, the problems are more, how should I put it, governmental regulations and philosophical. Let's start.
Yeah, let's start with the obvious thing. So you buy the robot, so you own it now. But that robot takes this decision, usually with some control of an AI, some control that is connected to the rest of the fleet, connected to the cloud server that coordinates everything, pushes updates, and also all that sensoring, all the vision has to be converted into information somehow. And who owns that? Who is in charge of that information? For example, if a war breaks out, who can control the robots, or can another country shut off the robots because they're made by that country's companies? Is there a backdoor somehow? Can they be hacked? So I think one of the biggest concerns is more of that software security process ownership side, because you don't want to have a robot that sees everything, hears everything in your house, upload it into a YouTube live feed.
Or sending it to FSB or something, yeah. I mean, I know people working for medical companies, and then the security department goes into their buildings and put tape over all cameras on television sets and so forth. They're not allowed to have it. That was last year, so I mean, it's not from the Stone Age. So this is the tricky questions. I mean, you can take a simpler one. You buy a robot and the robot is working fine, but then it's picking up those plants in the field. I hang around farms pretty much, and then the neighbor's cat comes around and it picks up the cat and throws it in the trash and kills it. Who's responsible? You bought the robot, the guy developing it? I don't know. So
you cannot prosecute a robot.
No. Yeah, you can, but I mean, who's going to cry when it goes to jail?
No, it takes out the battery and then sits there, and then that's like Monopoly jail then.
And then you have another thing. I mean, if you put them into around humans, how do we feel about that when you're getting old? I mean, in healthcare, we have seen small robots from Japan, you know, being cats or dogs, and they can pet them and they go meow meow and talks in a little bit in Japanese to people with dementia. But do we want to have a situation where we all are taken care of by robots? I don't know. It doesn't feel that super warm.
That's the point where they're actually missing the human connection. But maybe it's something that helps, especially healthcare is something where it's really terribly paid, a really stressful and demanding job, but you don't find people for it with that combination. Why don't you split that up, that you have a robot taking care of the hard jobs that are physical, and you have that human connection that you can spend more time with the patients.
Play cards.
I think that is a big benefit.
And maybe this is just a thing, getting used to it. I don't know.
I think that's the same with smartphones, digital connections. When I heard some stories that when the first cell phones came out and you had a job interview via a cell phone, it was seen as unprofessional. And people didn't get a job because they answered the phone on a cell phone and not on a landline.
Yeah, and a friend told me that when he 3 years back started to use AI for making protocol of the meetings, he didn't want to tell people because people would say he was cheating. Now, if he's not using AI, people say he's stupid. That's the development of 1,000 days. It's moving fast, very fast. But I would like to revert to the safety stuff. I mean, we have the war with Iran, we have Ukraine, Russia. There's a lot of conflicts. And if you see, first of all, what happened in Ukraine. Ukraine has a lack of soldiers. What have they done? A lot of drones, right? Then they started to develop drones on the ground, not the flying ones. So they're putting out mines, they are transporting wounded soldiers, they are doing a lot of things. And the real breakthrough was like 2 weeks ago when a group of Russian soldiers gave up, waved the white flag, and they were attacked by 3 or 4 of these robots or drones, if you like. So no humans, and they gave up to machines. So start to think about this. If you have this robot army, drone army, they're doing cleaning, they can also easily operate a shotgun. What if someone takes them over? That's question number 1. Question number 2, is it a war if we have 200,000 drones, humanoids, fighting each other? Who wins? It's you can talk about this for ages.
Keeps some of the leaders occupied, and basically the one who wins is the one who has the stronger supply chain.
Yeah, again.
But what you're pointing in that direction is something that we will see, is that the humanoid robots will be a quite local thing. So you will see European built, European developed robots, you will see North American robots, you see Chinese robots. And because you want to have that governance locally and that competence locally.
Yeah, and since it's that sensitive, then you can argue that, yeah, but these are mechanics, you can buy them in China or everywhere. I don't want to point out China especially, it could be US as well. But soon as you start to run the project with sourcing all over, you have to share a lot of things.
Exactly, and you don't want to have these schematics scattered all around the world when it's especially that sensitive.
No, so you probably buy your mechanics in Europe for European robots and in the US for US robots.
And what do we have in Europe? A lack of volume on our small die casting machines, and you have that perfect match. And again, your address becomes an asset now. It's not that you're competing with someone far east, far west for some jobs, because your address is now the key. In other terms is also that these companies developing robots, they're highly digitalized. They will not show up on a Foundry conference if you don't have a way to show them what casting can do. They might never go into casting, even though we think it's the best solution for these, because you get the thin walled, you get the stiffness, you get the functional integration, and you get the lightweight factor all in one process, and you can scale that to crazy high numbers. But do these people know that? Because they're usually coming more from the software side.
Yes, or sensor side, or electromechanical side. They probably need suppliers that can advise them a lot. I think so. Industrialization is the key word when it comes to humanoids and die casting.
Yeah, software is the one that sells the robot, but the industrialization is the one that makes it possible that the software can run on something and gives that sale. And that is where our industry comes in.
We kind of circle back to why is this a great market by saying safety reasons, regional. And then don't underestimate the support functionality that is needed around these robots. You have charging stations, you have computer halls, you have, you don't want to have the cloud everywhere, so probably you have a smart water-cooled computing system that you controls in some way. You want to have a cord that you can plug out to the wall if something goes really bad. I would guess. So there's die castings everywhere around humanoids.
Now it's all about positioning, showing solutions already before the parts are actually designed, and being there where these robotic companies are. And then you will have very soon the other way of the capacity issue, that you don't have enough machines to produce these parts for the humanoids robot.
So great. So, praising robots, praising humanoids. I think we will have more episodes about humanoids. We're working on dragging more interesting people that are real experts and working in this industry. We will also probably have the list of people actually designing robots, where you can see these new markets coming up. But for now, just an introduction. And the conclusion is we are happy. We are looking forward to it. We think it's a new market. We think it will drive technology around die casting. So it's good for probably most of us, I would say. Not everybody, but most of us.
Absolutely. So we just say, position yourself, get started, and think about robots, not just cars. And then we try to give you as much information on how to reach these people in the coming podcasts. And therefore, don't forget to subscribe. So we see us in the next gold nugget.
See you around. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.